Hi everybody, this is Jeff from the library, and we are going to talk today about how to set up a paper in APA format. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is a header, and there's a real specific kind of a header for APA called a running head. And the thing that's kind of weird about it, generally all of your pages, your page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many future pages, are going to have a certain standard header, and the first page is going to look different. The first page is going to be different. It's going to be an exception, so it's a little different. I'm going to show you how to set that up. So one thing I would do before you start this, so that we can really keep an eye on margins and things, I would go, this is how I do it, I would go to View and click Ruler. So you can see this nice ruler up top to make sure the margins are what we want it to be, because we're going to have to do some working with margins here. Okay, go to the Insert tab, Header, and the closest they have to an APA style header in here, and now I'm working in Microsoft 2007. It might look a little different in whatever version you're using. 2007, the closest they have is contrast odd page. So I'm going to click here. We don't need this second line. There's some editing we're going to have to do to this. Going to hit backspace there. I hit backspace again. Now we're done. We're got rid of that second line. So I'm going to type in right now what the general header on every page except page 1 would be, and then as soon as we're done with that, I'm going to edit page 1. It's a little bit weird, but if you do this once, you can save this as a template and just have it set up for your future pages, or it's not that hard to do it once I kind of show you how to do this. So title of my paper is Effects of Insulin. We want the title on there. I want that in capitals, all caps. Effects of Insulin. Okay, it's a pretty basic paper. Now this should be over at the left margin. I'm going to click Home, and we're going to click right here to take it to the left margin. Now notice this weird margin. It's a 2-inch margin. That should not be for APA. What I'm going to do, and this is why it's useful to be able to see the ruler, I'm going to grab this right here and pull it over until this 1 just disappears, so that we have just an inch here, because that's the standard margin your paper is going to be set at. So I'm going to mouse over right there until it turns into that funny arrow with 2 arrows pointing in different directions, and it's like a line in the middle. Then I'm going to pull this over. See how that 1 is disappearing up there? And then right when the 1 disappears, we've got an inch. Okay, there we go. Now this right here, we don't need this line, so I'm going to right click on this little line here, go down to Borders and Shading, and say None. Okay, so now we've got this set up. We've got our general running head for our paper set up. However, the first page is going to have to look a little bit different. So I am going to, I'm looking at my sample paper I have here. That's what that rustling sound is. Because this is tricky even for me, especially for me. Boy, this is, you always want to be paying attention to the rules with this stuff because it's so technical. Let's go into Header and Footer Tools right up here. Okay. Now I'm going to say Different First Page. Now when I click here, okay, it's going to say, okay, what do you want the first page to say? What you want it to say is this, without the caps lock being on. You want to say Running Head. Notice how head is not capitalized. Alright, got a colon. Then we're going to type in all caps our title again. And if you have a long title, abbreviate it. Not the words, but just take some of the words. Don't try to type in a huge, long. It's got to fit up here. It's got to fit up in this area and still give us room for 1. You don't want it to be this huge thing. So just take the most important words of your title, the first few words of it. Okay, we've got that. We're going to tab over here. I'm going to hit Tab, tell them over at this margin, and I'm going to click 1. That's what my first page is going to look like. And all future pages will be what that header I set up initially are. So here we go when I click Close Header and Footer. Okay, we've got this beautiful first page here. When I return, down here, so notice what it says there. Running Head, Effects of Insulin, page 1. When I go to page 2, if all is according to what I think it is, if all is proceeding according to my plan, theoretically, I feel like we should have a drum roll here. When I return to second page, okay, beautiful. The second page is back to my standard header that I set up, Effects of Insulin. It doesn't say Running Head, it says Effects of Insulin, page 2. And all future pages that I do, when I go to page 3, I return down there, okay, see what's happening there? So that is the way it is supposed to work. That's how I wanted it to work. And every once in a while things work the way I think they're going to. Okay, so that is the trickiest part of this, is getting that running head set up. We've got that set up. Now your title, your title page, you do need a title page in APA. We're going to return down here in the top half of the page, just somewhere up here about the top half. We're going to center, type your title, not in caps. I'm going to make sure my caps lock is off. Effects of insulin. Also, this paper is going to be double spaced, so if it's not set already, which it probably is on yours, mine is not set to double space, so I'm going to set mine to double spaced. What I did was I went up here to the paragraph button right there. Sorry about that clicking noise. I guess I probably didn't need to do that. And clicking on this to double. There we go. Okay, so then we're going to double space down, and notice we're centered here. We're in the center, and I'm going to type in my name, the theoretical name of the person who's typing this paper, and what school I am a student at. Okay, there we go. Now, if this were a more formal paper, or you were writing this with a grant, or that you were actually going to have this paper published, you would put in, right about here, you'd put an author note to say this paper was written with a grant from this and that, and this was written whatever. But I don't think, if you're a student and you're just turning this in for a grade in a class, I don't think your teacher is going to require an author note, because you really don't have that kind of a situation. You're a student writing this as an assignment. So I don't think you will need an author note. But if you do, talk to me or someone in the Writing Center or your teacher about how to set that up, or just look in the AP manual. It's not that hard. Okay, so as you can kind of see, APA is a little pickier than MLA with some of this stuff. Okay, we're going to go down here. So for right now, with the assumptions I'm making about this page, then we're done with page 1. I'm assuming you don't need an author note. Now the second page technically should have an abstract. And again, I'm not sure your teacher is going to require this. If not, then we can just go into the body of the paper. But technically, with most APA papers, at least ones that are going to be published, again, I'm not sure it needs to be this formal with what your assignment is, but generally there's an abstract. So the second page would be your abstract. Now the abstract, what that is, that's a summary of your paper in a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs. And notice that shouldn't have happened. Now make that double spaced again. So take that off of there. These things happen. Okay, and it keeps going back to single space. Probably something I did wrong, but that's okay. Okay, now for the actual text of the abstract, you want that over here. You don't want that centered. Make sure my double is on again. Thank you very much. Okay, and then I'm going to type in, I'm not going to type in a whole abstract right now, but I'm going to give you, basically I'm going to summarize, give you a hypothetical. It does not need to be indented. This paper examines the effects of insulin on patients with type 2 diabetes. Did I spell something wrong? The subjects studied were all adults between the ages of 25 and 45. And then you would keep typing whatever it is. Basically, you would summarize your 10-page paper in a paragraph or a few paragraphs here. All right, so there's the abstract. Now again, this is if you are required by your teacher to do this. So when the abstract page is done, then we actually begin the paper on the third page of it. So the abstract should be alone. Now your instructor might tell you to do something different, but these are the rules, and teachers can bend those rules. You want to check with your instructor, but this is the way, generally speaking, APA should be done. Okay, now we're on the third page where the actual body of your paper begins. And I'm going to click center, put the title at the top. It does not need to be in all caps or anything like this. And if you hear some pages turning, what I'm doing, I'm consulting this APA manual. I do it all the time, and I would encourage you to get one and to consult this all the time too. You really don't want to play this stuff by ear. I'm kind of trying to show you the basics of how to do this, but I would recommend that you buy or check out one of these. We do have them in the library to check out. That's the end of my lecture and pitch. Okay, here's the title, Effects of Insulin. It's centered. Now on yours, you should not have to keep telling it to do double spacing. I did something funky, so I'm just going to have to keep doing this. Going to return. Take it over to the left margin. Now this does have to be indented. Now we're going to be with the regular rules of writing. So I'm going to tab that over 1/2 inch. Insulin can be used in the treatment of type 2 diabetes. And then you would go on to type your paper. So I'm just kind of showing you the basics of how to format this. It's not going to get too heavy duty here. And I'm going to take a little break and answer this phone call. I'll be back in a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, let's talk now about how you're going to show your references. And again, I'm just showing you the basics of how to do this paper, just showing you how to set it up. Once and for all, I'm going to put this double spaced on this. This has been my nemesis in this presentation. Okay, it won't be for you though. All right, so we're down into the last page. Theoretically, this is the last page of your paper. You're going to type references up at the top. Just like that. Hey, it kept the double spacing on. We're going to enter. Again, it should be double spaced. Going to click over here, so with the left margin, and I'm just going to grab a quick citation from EBSCO. Now, if you don't know how to get citations from EBSCO, there's a whole other video I have online that'll show you step by step how to do this. So I'm going to be going through this fairly quickly because there's a whole other video I have on that. So I have an article open up here in EBSCO. Like I said, there are other articles online to show you how to search EBSCO and how to do step by step these citations. I'm going to be going pretty quickly in here. In EBSCO, for instance, and you can take your citations from anywhere. This is just one example. I'm going to click Cite from the EBSCO citation. There's an APA citation right there. I'm going to highlight this and copy it and paste it into my document. Copy, and then there will be some editing that I have to do to it to make it correct. So I'm in here. Let's scroll this down a little bit so it's easier to see. Notice how our header is still keeping up with us here. And I'm going to paste that in. And as you can see, there's a few problems with this. Let's take this, highlight all this. We're going to change it to the correct font. Make this a little bigger too so you can see this a little bit better. Okay. Alright, so we've got that there. It's in the right font now. Now let's go into the paragraph button here. And we're going to make that a hanging indent. I might have to reset this in a second because I have a feeling it's going to strip away some of this formatting. I set the indentation to 0. Hanging indent, which makes it like this, with the second and third lines are indented over. And let's make this double spaced. Okay, then we have a good looking citation. Here's the DOI at the end, the digital object identifier. It's kind of like the online serial number of that article. The only thing I noticed that's funny here, look at this, all that space there. I'm going to highlight all that. Let's see if we can get rid of this by clicking Don't Add Space. Nope. So here's the other way I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to put it to the beginning of the citation. I'm going to backspace. Okay, so it's on the same line as this one's references. Now when I click Enter, they should be set to the same kind of spacing. There we go. The only problem is now it made this centered, which we don't want that. So I'm going to take that off, put it over to the left, go back here into Paragraph, Special, Hanging. Okay. And then all of your future citations you would do in the same type of format. So this is the basics of how to set up a paper in APA format. So watch this as many times as you need. I know it's a little tricky. I'm about out of time here, or I would review all what we did here, but we're pretty much out of time. So just back this up or watch it again, or contact me in the library and I'll help you with this step by step. Thanks a lot for your time, and this is Jeff signing off.